If you are involved in the beef industry, you probably well know that the market is down the limit today. With a few words from our president, we have watched everyone start to scramble, wondering what's going to happen. American agriculture stood behind you, President Trump, and we put full faith in your ability to put America first, particularly American production, which comes down to the farmers and the ranchers that feed this great nation, that keep her free, that are the backbone. And as all of us wonder if the borders are going to open or what is going to happen, all of us are wondering a little bit about domestic agriculture. This is the first time in a long time that as cattlemen and women that we've actually been on top, where that banknote isn't going to be quite as hard to make. We don't want a bailout. We don't want all of those things. We want a free market. We want a market where we are actually getting paid a fair price, where we have the opportunity to keep up with all of the input costs that are going through the roof. You're going to make food cheaper, but what about our John Deere tractors? What about our pickup trucks, our trailers, our feed cost, our fuel cost? All of those things that we are still paying through the roof for. Just trying to make that banknote with a 8% interest rate has been beyond difficult for so many people in this industry. I am hoping and praying with all my might that as we wonder what's going to happen, and those few words that change everything for so many of us, that we will remember to put American agriculture first. Stand up for her. Keep her free.
Now, some of those cattle farmers who overwhelmingly did support the president in last year's election are making clear that they do not agree with his plan.
Consumers will tell us when the beef is too high. I think it's outlandish for the president to come out and say the beef is too high and he's going to get it down himself. What is his problem with higher priced beef? Because consumers have a choice in proteins. There's chicken, there's pork, there's all different proteins. Consumers have chose to buy beef. President Trump ran on being a free market guy, so what he was saying last week goes totally against what he ran on.
Who knew that importing beef from Argentina was going to leave American farmers and ranchers questioning Trump's loyalties? First, the tariff wars undercut American soybean farmers, and now Trump is importing beef from Argentina. They want to know what's going on here. It turns out President Trump is threading the needle. While he's making deals with Argentina to keep China out of our backyard, he also has to face the reality that beef prices have not come down, and the American consumer feels it every time they check out at the grocery store. By allowing a fraction of Argentine beef into the U.S., he's putting just enough pressure on domestic producers to keep prices in check. And that's where the tension comes in. Ranchers are frustrated because they've seen stable profits thanks to strong demand, even at all-time high prices. But Trump has to decide, does he prioritize the producers of an industry or the pocketbooks of 330 million Americans heading into the holiday season? It's a complicated issue. We can't get hysterical or treat this like betrayal, because sometimes leadership means making uncomfortable trade-offs for the betterment of all Americans, not just one segment. Maybe the real answer isn't blocking imports, but removing the red tape that drives up producers' costs so ranchers can grow their herds and compete freely. Because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing: affordable food, strong farms, and a stable America. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Just had a brilliant idea. Instead of all y'all folks spending all your time trash talking me and telling me how horrible of a person I am and all the rest of the farmers are, why don't y'all spend a little time, call your congressmen and your representatives and all that, try to get them folks up there in Washington to open it back up. Open the government back up and get us some kind of trade plan going on so we can get a good market for all of our commodities. We don't want you to have bailouts and socialist stuff. We don't want all that crap, because that's going to go straight to the deadgum chemical and fertilizer dealers and fuel dealers anyway. We just want a good trade deal to where somebody will buy our commodities. That's all we asking for. Instead of spending all your time trash talking to me, holler at the people that really can make a difference.
Nah, fuck them farmers. Like I've said before, you're not going to tell me after you voted the way you voted to then call my congressmen and women and my representatives to try to dig us out of a hole that you buried us in. All these farmers, I guarantee it, 4-1 decided to vote for Donald Trump, even though he absolutely crushed you the first time. And you guys are struggling so much as crop prices are falling, as nobody wants your shit because of all of the tariffs and everything else that he is doing to cripple this economy. And your solution, after you sold us out, after you screwed us over, is, oh, why don't you call somebody? Why don't you call your representative? For God's sake, I don't know what else you want us to do. You continue to vote against your own best interest, and then you whine and complaining when everybody's on your case, on your back, and you say, well, why don't you do something about it? We did. We tried. And now you are where you are because of how you voted. 3 straight times, I guarantee, you voted for that man, and he has screwed you over so many times that he is going to bury you, and you are going to lose your family farms. So fuck around and find out, FAFO to the nth degree.
President Trump plans to flood the beef market with beef from Argentina to help combat the high beef prices here in the United States. Let me tell you why that is a bad idea. For one, the first time in decades, the farmer and rancher is able to finally turn a decent profit and put that money back into their farm and ranch and help keep their ranches alive. Second, if we cheapen American beef, we're going to fall back into the same trend that we were 4, 5, 6 years ago, where we're losing 10 to 20,000 American ranchers every single year. Why would somebody try to continue on a ranch or pass it down to their kids? Why would their kids want to run a ranch that's not even able to make a decent living? And third, a lot of these people are the ones that voted for you. What happened to the America First policy, taking care of the American ranchers and the American people first before anybody else? Now, I'm not saying imports are bad, but flooding the market and making it worse for the American ranchers is not the way to go about this. How do we get the cost of beef down? We got to get the cost of production down for the American ranchers. I'm interested to see what y'all think about this. Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, guys, buy American, buy local, and God bless.
I'm going to tell you, I'm starting to get real suspicious of whatever Trump is doing with Argentina. You already know that Trump has blown up the Chinese market for American soybeans. And now Argentina is sending their soybeans to China. And then we bailed out Argentina to the tune of $40 billion. Now look at this. Trump is suggesting that America is going to buy beef from Argentina to bring down prices for the American consumers. Yeah, American beef is high. You know why? Because there's a monopoly. But instead of addressing the monopoly, he's going to import beef from Argentina, who has already taken the American soybean market and has already been bailed out by the American taxpayers. So now we're blowing up the American beef market too? Trump has to be doing the bidding of another country to destroy America. There is no way you can make any of this make any sense.
Hi guys, welcome back once again to my YouTube channel. I hope wherever you are doing fine. Okay guys, into this clip is all about how Maga cattle farmers ranchers that have came out in line number. They are saying of how President Donald Trump just betrayed them, because right now America is importing beef from Argentina, and these farmers, they feel like they are being betrayed by the man who they really thought he will do good things to them, we will make their life be better, but right now they are fucking around and finding out what they voted for. So guys, watch this clip to the end and then I'll be back with more comments.
Well, the Democrats were right again. Do you guys remember when we told these Trump supporters that if Trump put tariffs on everything, that American companies would jack their prices up? Well, that's exactly what happened with American beef. As soon as Trump put in the tariffs, American cattle farmers raised their prices 10 to 15%. And when we told Trump supporters that this is precisely what would happen, they said, well, that's okay. I'm okay with paying higher prices at the store, even though Trump's entire campaign promise was to lower prices. But I'm okay with paying higher prices as long as we're buying American, because that's the patriotic thing to do. Well, I guess I got a little bit too patriotic in here, huh? Because now Trump is importing beef from Argentina to undercut the prices of American farmers. Isn't it amazing how Trump has completely fucked over American farmers at every turn, and yet he has the audacity to sit in the White House and say, prices are way down, I saved the farmers. And that's because he's an idiot. But Trump supporters, listen up. Next time, listen to the smart people. You know, the people who don't like Trump, even he knows that. The smart people. Listen to us and you could have saved yourself some trouble. Anyway, Group 7, rest assured that we are always correct about everything. So I hope you guys have a classy Thursday, and I'll check in with you later. Love you guys.
U.S. ranchers just found out that their government is importing more beef from Argentina. One farmer called it a knife in the back. Another said that we supported him, and now he's selling us out. This will hurt American farmers while doing little to lower beef prices because it's mostly trim used for processed meat. So once again, it is the meat packers, the processors, and the retailers that profit while consumers continue to pay the price. Every time a politician imports cheap beef, it pushes another family farm closer to bankruptcy. So it's important to buy direct and support your local farmers.
From countries where cattle are raised cheap, fast, and dirty. Dirty caca. So when people say American beef is too expensive, what they really mean is I'd rather eat mystery meat from Brazil than pay a U.S. rancher a fair wage. Let's talk numbers. A family of 4 can eat regeneratively raised Wagyu, yep, the expensive stuff, for less than $10 per person per meal. That's less than what most folks blow on drive-through meals, soda, and snacks every single day. You don't have a beef problem, you've got a Doritos and DoorDash problem, which $10 is the tip you give the DoorDash driver after all the fees from the meal you already spent another fortune on. You could feed your family for a week on a single Wagyu roast, ground beef, and a few eggs from your neighbor, but somehow $9 for a pound of real beef is too much. Meanwhile, medical bills for diabetes, inflammation, and hormone issues, those are apparently affordable. So here's the math: pay your rancher now or pay your doctor later. Either way, you're gonna pay somebody. And if I can raise Wagyu, the most premium beef in the world, regeneratively, without hormones, without chemicals, and still beat the weekly average grocery store bill feeding a family of 4, then don't tell me you can't afford to support your local farmer or rancher. You just can't afford to keep making excuses. Beef isn't expensive, ignorance is. Support the people feeding you, not the corporations fooling you.
Trump told the cattle ranchers to get fucked and like it. And when they all started whining about him importing Argentinian beef, let's get into it. So this account here, Merriweather Farms, they've been over on Twitter years. I'm going to get out of the way, pause it so you can read it all, and then I'll get my fat face back in here. We love and support you, POTUS, but your suggestion to buy beef from Argentina, blah, blah, blah. I love this part too. On top of all of this, the only chaos is coming from the Department of Agriculture. There is no true guidance, mismatching the copious amounts of photo ops. The cattle ranchers are pissed, and Trump could give a fuck less. Here's what he told the cattle ranchers after they were whining about him importing the beef. The cattle ranchers don't understand that the only reason they are doing so well for the first time in decades is because I put tariffs on the cattle coming into the United States. If it weren't for me, they would be doing just as they've done for the past 20 years. Terrible. Let's see what the Cattle Ranchers Associations think about it and how well they're doing. This is a tweet from the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Cattlemen and women cannot stand behind President Trump while he undercuts the future of family farmers and ranchers by importing Argentinian beef. It is imperative that POTUS and Secretary Collins lets markets work without interference. If the administration is truly an ally of America's cattle producers, we call on him to abandon this effort to manipulate markets and focus on these things. It don't sound like they're doing too well to me, does it? I love nothing more than when he pisses in his supporters' faces and tells them to enjoy it. He tells them they're doing great when they're not doing great. It's what he does to the entire fucking country all the time. So I fucking love it when his supporters get it thrown right in their fucking faces what is happening in this country. And then they want to whine and cry about it. Look, let me tell you something. You don't owe these people any empathy. No one who voted for Donald Trump deserves your empathy. If they're losing their farms, if they're losing their ranches, if they're losing their health care, if they're losing their food assistance, they do not deserve your empathy. They show no one else any empathy. These people, these ranchers, these farmers, none of these Trump voters gave a fuck if he was harming other people. So do not give them the empathy that they do not deserve.
Why am I seeing all these cattle farmers on my timeline? 3 out of 4 cattle farmers voted for Trump. I am not buying anything from any of them. I don't want to impede their progress to bankruptcy. Why should I? They voted to make Argentina great again. I ain't buying nothing from any of them. They need to go the same way that the ag farmers did. The bankruptcies are off the chart for those ag farmers. So yeah, 3 out of 4 of those cattle ranchers voted for Trump. They need to go to the White House. Oh, no, they can't. The visitors' entrance has been destroyed, the East Wing.
Let me tell you something, because this is important. Farmers need to stop playing in people's faces with this I'm poor stuff right now, because people are sick of it. Poor people don't start small farms. You're going to start a small specialty crop thing, you need money and or access for land, for expertise, for equipment, supplies, irrigation equipment, crop row covers. You need high tones, you need greenhouses, you need hoop houses, you need places to store the stuff, ways to pack it. Like, all that stuff costs money. See, I've never been poor a day in my life, but I grew up in Southeast DC in the 80s and 90s. So, while I didn't live in the projects, I was surrounded by the projects. And I've seen what actual poverty looks like. And none of these people, at any point, ever had the resources or the access to be able to start a small farm of any kind. Them people didn't have the money to start a container garden on the porch. Now, as a result of dumping your money and your access and your privilege or whatever into starting your small farm, you might now be broke, but broke and poor aren't the same thing. Like, shit, bro, I'm broke. I got $40 that's got to last me until the end of the month. But I've also got this house that I'm going to inherit on 2 acres. I'm on 3 trust funds. The interest in my business is worth $500,000. My support network is drowning in money. My parents have money. My in-laws have money. My cousins, my brothers have money. My best friends are a radiologist, an attorney, a dentist, a CPA, a guy that has a $30 million contract with HUD, and a guy that lives in Dubai, and I still don't know what this nigga does for a living. So what I'm saying is, I'm broke right now because my business has me dumping almost all of my money into it, for potential future gain. But hell will freeze and thaw and freeze again before I or anybody near me lets me or my family suffer the way poor people are made to suffer. And farmers need to stop playing, acting like they're one bad harvest away from homelessness, because they're not. I swear to God, you go interview 10,000 homeless people, I guarantee you not one of them is going to be, man, I used to be a farmer. They're one bad harvest away from having to liquidate some of their assets that they'd rather not in order to make themselves whole. You remember that farmer, Skyler? That dude that was all over the internet a few months ago talking about, I might lose this farm.
I might lose my farm because of the government. NRCS, conservation planning, cost sharing on stuff like fencing, different seedings, water lines, better conserve farmland for agricultural use. They called me today and said, hey, I know we have the signed contract. We're reneging on it. We're not going to pay out on it. I'm just screwed. And unless they lift this pause on payment, I'm going to lose this farm.
Here's this shameless bitch several months later.
I'm thinking about selling all my cows, and I need you guys to tell me why it doesn't make sense to do this. I paid $1.2 million for my farm, where I only owe $920,000 on it. So half of that loan is through the FSA at 3% interest for 30 years. The other half of that loan is through a bank at 7+% interest. After 2 years of paying on it, I still owe $457,000 on that $460,000 loan through the bank because the interest has eaten up most of my payment. I'm in a situation where if I was to sell all my cows that are worth about $300,000 and I own those free and clear, and I sell my rental houses for, they're worth about $200,000 and I own those free and clear, I would have enough money to, after I pay taxes, to pay off the bank side of my loan.
Oh! This dude was never in danger of having to sell his farm. He was in danger of being forced to sell part of his cattle herd or one of his rental properties, which he's now considering doing anyway to take advantage of high cattle prices to clear out one of his loans, because the other loan with the FSA he's able to pay for with his off-farm job. Same guy that was telling you back in February that he was one Doge signature away from possibly being homeless. This is why cattlemen are mad, by the way, that Trump might undo the windfall that he's engineered for them with these tariffs and refusal to do anything about climate change. This is why they're mad, right? They cattle prices record high. These guys are able to retire hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in personal debt while continuing to suck at the teat of the USDA, getting your money for their low interest FSA loans, getting your money, free money as grants, not loans, to build their fences and their wells and their improvements so they can get even wealthier. All while constantly telling you, I'm just a small farmer, I'm barely breaking even. Keep playing with people, playing games, because people are looking at y'all now the way they've never looked at farmers before. When they find out that you've been lying to them for decades, they're gonna fuck you up.
So it turns out it's going to be beef. Beef is what is going to get everybody in my hometown and my family to turn against Trump. People who were very vocal in their support of Trump are now complaining because of his stance on importing cattle and beef from Argentina. That is where they are taking their stand. They're signing petitions, they're posting on Facebook, they're so upset. And I get it, it's their livelihood, so I understand that, and I don't agree with his plan either. But here's the thing, I've been advocating for months for my disabled son. Advocating and telling everyone how he's losing access to schooling already, how his insurance isn't helping us anymore. He's losing his insurance. How the price of his medication has increased astronomically in the last few months, and nobody cared. And if I said anything about him losing access to schooling, how the SPED department was being defunded, they said I was wrong. They said Trump wouldn't do that, but when he does something to them that affects them, they now care. And it bothers me so much. It bothers me that cows matter more than my disabled son, to my family even.
Cattles and ranchers are pissed off because we're about to import beef. Beef that's gonna get into cargo boats, ship that shit throughout the ocean, put it in trucks, drive those trucks thousands of miles on land, finally get to grocery stores, and get sold for cheaper than beef that is literally down the block. Now, the question I have for you cattle ranchers, why is that? Explain this psychological thing, math, to me. Why is a beef that's got to cross through continent, it's much cheaper than a beef that you produce right here down the block? As a consumer, I can almost certainly tell you this. This is a monopoly. It happens with shortage in eggs. Manufacturer crisis drives the prices to almost $12, $14, $15 a dozen. Now it's back to $4 or $5 a dozen. Beef, we're seeing the same fucking thing. A 3 steaks at a Costco, good amount of meat, will cost you about 110 bucks. The fuck I used to buy a piece for $10, $14 from Mariano's. Now I gotta pay 3 times that rate, and you want me to sympathize with you?
Guys, welcome back once again to my YouTube channel. I'm Bibo, and if it was for the first time you come across my video, don't forget to like this video, subscribe and share. Okay guys, in today's clip, all the credits goes to original creator of the video. I've all seen how Maga farmers, they are really going through a lot, especially Maga cattle ranchers farmers. They really wanted ahead and they voted for Trump, but right now we've all seen all the beef that is coming from America is being imported from Argentina, and this really shows that these people, they really did a very bad mistake. They really did what they just wanted, and this is what they get, or this is what they voted for. We all know, or we do remember well, when the first time these Maga farmers voted for President Trump, almost of them, or more than 1,000 farmers really crashed up. More than 1,000 farmers really lost their farms. More than 1,000 or maybe like 2,000 farmers really went bankrupt, but they really wanted ahead and they voted again against their own interest. They voted against hatred and they voted against racism, and this is what they get, and this is what they voted for. We have all seen how a lot of Maga farmers that really came out in large number, not only cattle ranchers farmers, also those farmers who are really struggling right now. The price of the crops are really falling because of Trump tariffs. We've all seen how they are really coming out in large number, crying out for help. They want the government to bail them out. They are asking for handouts, but when other people really ask for this, they told these people to work very hard to pull up their bootstrap. But right now, they are the ones who are really asking for this. They are the ones who hated socialism, but right now they want the government to bail them out. And this is just a lesson that you should never vote maybe to hurt your own brother and sister. You should never vote to punish your brother, because we do remember very well when these people are really voting, they really voted to punish the immigrant and the black community. They really voted to punish the black people because they voted so that they really thought that these policies won't affect them. It will just affect the immigrant more so and black people. But to the surprise, we have all seen it just affecting them, all of them. And another person really came out and said that if these people can be given another chance, they can still vote for President Donald Trump for the fourth time, because this is the third time they are really voting for President Donald Trump, despite it disappointed them, it betrayed them. But if they can be given another chance, they can still vote for them. So guys, we just really hope things will be better in America, because right now America is just for billionaires and billionaires. A lot of people are really coming out in large numbers. They're really crying out for help of how life it has really changed in America. If you don't have money, you can't survive in America. Come to employment. There's high unemployment rate in America right now. People are crying out for help of how they have no job opportunities. And we do remember all very well these white MAGA voters, or the MAGA supporters, the Republicans. They really went ahead and they were convinced that the immigrants were the ones who were taking the jobs of the people who were living in America, not putting in mind that these immigrants were the same people who are really helping the economy of America to grow. And they really went ahead and they voted for deportation of immigrants. Right now, we have all seen who is suffering, most especially the farmers. The farmers are really suffering a lot. Crops are rotting their farms. There's no anyone to pick. And if they ask for help, people, they are telling them, go and call your MAGA supporters to come and help you, or just go and call your family, simply because you really went ahead and you voted out of hatred. You really went ahead to vote to punish other people. Other people really voted for you to stay in business, but you voted for them. You voted out of hatred, you voted out of racism. And right now, these people are really discovering of how racism is so expensive. So guys, in America right now, a lot of white people are really so much confused, and more so we haven't seen any black person coming out maybe and complaining. We haven't seen any clip of black people coming out and saying of how life it has been difficult, because our black brothers, they have been used to this. Our black brothers, they really usually know how to thrive during hard times. They have been through this for a very long period of time. They know how to thrive and survive successfully during this harsh condition. This is the reason why maybe there's no any clip of maybe black people complaining, or any black farmers. I haven't seen any clip of black farmers, even if there are so few, because the government really doesn't favor them when it's come to those help that they give, or those associations that give to farmers, so that at least they can help them grow their farms. So guys, this video is just for educational purpose. We are here to learn, and let's just take care of your own brothers. Don't have any hatred among your own brothers, because we have all seen how racism is so expensive. We have all seen how racism it has really caused a lot of people outside there. We have all seen how hating one another it has really caused a lot of people outside there. A lot of people are losing their jobs. They are crying out for help of how the government doesn't favor them. A lot of white people who are living in America right now, they have lost their health care. They are losing their food because food stamps they have been cut. There's no money in America right now. America to survive is so hard, but we really hope things will be better. So guys, if it was for the first time you come across my video, don't forget to like this video, subscribe and share. Thank you so much for your time. May God bless you whenever you are. One love.